At dinner, hearts were touched as the waitress daughter discovered an incredible connection with a war hero. The neon lights of Miller's diner flickered to life, casting a warm glow over the tables filled with laughter and memories. The scent of freshly baked pie and strong coffee filled the air as Lily maneuvered through the bustling scene, her heart aching with the weight of her mother's labors. Her mother, a single parent and hard-working waitress, poured every ounce of herself into keeping their lives afloat in this quaint Midwestern town. Each evening, as customers piled in, Lily watched from the shadows, feeling so small among their stories. Tonight was different. A group of veterans laughed boisterously in the booth by the window. Their camaraderie was magnetic, pulling Lily closer to them like a moth to a flame. Among them sat Charlie, a retired war hero with kind, weathered features that seemed old enough to tell 1,000 tales. She found her heart accelerating as she gathered their plates, captivated by their animated discussions about sacrifices, bravery, and love. When Charlie caught her gaze, he nodded her way, and for a brief moment, it felt like he saw her. As her hands worked on instinct, collecting the remnants of a hearty meal, she paused, somehow drawn to Charlie's smile. "It's a tough world out there," he said, his voice deep and gentle, "but you've got the fire in your heart to make it better." Lily smiled, feeling a pinch of warmth ignite within her. She admired the resilience of her mother, and yet, there was a fear festering inside her. Could she ever match that strength? "Tell me, kiddo, what's your dream?" Charlie's question hung in the air as she blinked back tears. Her dreams of becoming an artist felt like distant stars, flickering, fading, but he was determined to coax them from hiding. The memories of doodling in notebooks flashed before her. Art was who she was at her core, but life always seemed to demand more. Just then, a heavy cloud crept through the diner. News spread like wildfire: the diner was facing closure due to financial troubles. Lily's heart plummeted. Miller's diner represented nearly every cherished memory, the heart of their community. She felt the pull of loyalty to her mother clash with her own buried ambitions. Could she truly fight to save it? Before she could process the turmoil, a voice projected from within her that had never been there before. "We can't let this place go," Lily exclaimed, earning surprised glances and quiet murmurs from the crowd. Swallowed by the warmth of Charlie's encouragement, she felt an unfamiliar swell of purpose, fueled by the connection they'd established. "This diner means too much to us. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. The stakes were higher than ever as Lily locked eyes with Charlie, whose approval ignited a fire within her. "This isn't just about a diner. It's about our home, our family," she declared. With each word, a chorus of backing voices resonated around her, small-town pride rallying behind her fight. Could a teen girl really stand up against the looming forces of change and development? In that moment, with hearts touched and dreams on the line, everything felt possible. Lily's journey to save the diner had begun, but the weight of honor and sacrifice loomed ever larger. What would it cost her to fight for the essence of family, legacy, and hope, especially when she feared she may not possess the strength to carry it through? This was only the beginning of her story, a story that longed to unfold and reveal just how far she'd go. A war hero. The chatter in Miller's diner rose to a fever pitch, fueled by the spark ignited by Lily's unexpected declaration. "We can't let this place go," echoed in her mind like a battle cry. Patrons exchanged glances, their expressions shifting from surprise to curiosity. There was something powerful in her voice. It had turned the atmosphere electric, casting aside any shadows of despair that threatened to settle in. As the crowd buzzed with a mix of excitement and uncertainty, Charlie leaned forward, a proud grin playing across his lips. "That's the spirit, kiddo. Talk is cheap, though. We need to turn those words into action," he said. It was as if he had lifted a weight off her shoulders, and she felt invigorated, ready to act. "What do you have in mind?" a voice from the back called out. It was Mrs. Henderson, an elderly woman who had frequented the diner since it opened. Her twinkling eyes glimmered with anticipation. Lily's heart raced. Where to begin? Maybe a fundraiser. We could have an art auction or a bake sale. Something to bring in more customers. The ideas flowed, spinning in her mind like a carousel, her passion fueling her creativity. Yup, that sounds good. A talent show would be fun too. Piped in Jake, a high school friend who often helped his dad with taking out the trash after closing. The crowd murmured with enthusiasm, and Lily felt their collective energy urging her on. Fantastic suggestions. Let us do both. Charlie's voice boomed. And not just the locals, we can call in veterans, everyone from the town. Let us remind people what this diner means to them. Lily nodded, emboldened by his confidence in her. This was no longer just a fight for survival, it had transformed into a newfound mission. Let us make it a celebration for the community. We can share stories and remind everyone why this place matters. With each voice chiming in, ideas began to take shape. They could have live music, family games, and displays of artwork from local students, hers included. Lily felt the walls of her heart swell with acceptance, excitement, and a flickering hope that maybe, just maybe, they could save this beloved diner together. As plans rolled forward, Lily stole a glance at her mother, who had stopped in her tracks, wiping her hands on her apron as she watched with a mix of bewilderment and pride. There had always been a whisper of doubt about Lily's dreams, perhaps this was the moment they both needed to cross over that invisible line, but as quickly as hope ignited in her heart, doubts began to creep back in. Could they really raise enough money? Would people come out to support them? The weight of expectation settled on her shoulders. In the midst of the planning, the vibrancy of the diner thrummed with energy, uniting the community in a common goal. And yet, there was a nagging question in the back of her mind, a whisper that would not let go. What if it wasn't enough? As the night wore on, discussions continued, but hesitation tugged at Lily. She felt the burden of responsibility swell in her chest. Could she really pull this off? The answer seemed to flicker in the reflections of the neon lights, both illuminating and shadowing her path ahead. With a swirl of determination, she clenched her fists. Tomorrow, we start brainstorming ideas and getting the word out. This diner deserves a fighting chance. The crowd erupted with cheers and a renewed sense of purpose flowed through the room. But as the clinking of glasses and laughter filled the air, another thought lingered in her mind. If they succeeded, what would that mean for her both as the daughter of a waitress and as an artist? The journey ahead promised not only a chance to save the diner but also a path steeped in self-discovery. Who would she become in this fight? All she knew was that tomorrow would be a pivotal day for them all, and change was right around the corner. The sun peeked through the window of Miller's diner, casting a warm glow on the familiar checkered floor. Lily sat at the counter, notebook open and pencil poised, brimming with ideas from last night's gathering. The air hummed with anticipation as the regulars trickled in, their chatter a comforting backdrop that felt like home. All right, let us get this show on the road, Lily said to herself, determination etched on her face. She scribbled down the ideas that danced in her mind, a talent show, an art auction, a bake sale. The possibilities were endless. Each stroke of her pencil filled her with a sense of purpose, fueling her vision to revive the diner. Hey, Lily. Jake called as he sauntered in, hands stuffed in his pockets. What's cooking today? Planning, mostly. We need to get our fundraising ideas straight, she said, excitement bubbling in her voice. You in to help? Count me in. I'll rally some folks at school. Everyone loves a good show. He exclaimed. Lily smiled, reassured by his enthusiasm. With each person who supported her, the burden on her heart felt lighter. She could see the spark of hope spreading, igniting something in the community that had long been dimmed by dread of losing the diner. As they brainstormed, Mrs. Henderson shuffled over, a plate of pie balanced on her palm. "I've got a secret weapon for those bake sales," she winked, placing the pie down. "I need your help, though. How about I teach you my family's recipe?" Lily's eyes lit up. "Absolutely. I've always wanted to learn how to make that." The diner began to fill with laughter and chatter as the morning slipped into afternoon. Each familiar face that walked in rekindled her hope. It was more than a diner to them, it was a place where journeys began, memories were made, and lives intertwined. Fingers tapping on her notebook, Lily began drafting a flyer to spread the word about their coming events. She penned it in bold letters, "Join us for a day of fun and celebration to save Miller's Diner." It felt empowering to put her ideas to paper. Suddenly, the front door swung open, and in walked a tall figure with broad shoulders and an unmistakable air of authority. It was the town mayor. The buzz of the diner quieted momentarily as everyone turned to greet him. "Good morning, everyone," he said, his voice warm yet commanding. He approached the counter where Lily stood. "I hear you're planning something quite special here, young lady." Lily's pulse quickened. "Yes, sir. We're organizing fundraisers to save the diner. Would you be willing to help us promote it?" He paused, considering her words. "I remember coming here with my mother as a boy," he said, a soft smile playing on his lips. "It's part of what makes this town special. I'd be proud to lend my voice to your cause." "Really?" Her heart raced, hope flickering like the neon lights above them. That would mean so much. As the mayor discussed ideas for community involvement, Lily felt a surge of energy ripple through the diner. Patrons exchanged glances filled with optimism. It was as if a chain reaction had started, linking each person together through the shared desire to save their beloved diner. After what felt like hours of planning and enthusiasm, the diner started to quiet down as the day stretched on. With the sun beginning to dip in the sky, Lily felt the day's weight settle in her bones. But beneath it all, excitement coursed through her. This was not just about saving the diner. It was about bringing everyone together again, binding them with memories and hopes for tomorrow. As the first day of planning wrapped up, Lily stepped out onto the diner's porch to catch her breath. The weight of responsibility loomed overhead, yet so did the glimmer of possibility. With her heart racing, she knew they were on the cusp of something big, yet a question danced in her mind: what would it take for them to truly succeed? The sunset painted the sky in brushstrokes of hope and uncertainty, setting the stage for what was to come next, when surprises were waiting around the corner. Lily stood on the porch, the warm evening air wrapping around her like a soft blanket. She looked out at the street, where shadows began to stretch under the fading sunlight. The laughter from the diner echoed behind her, and she felt a sense of belonging. Just as she was about to head back inside, she heard a familiar voice call out, "Lily." It was Clara, her childhood friend, rushing towards her with a determined look on her face. Clara had always been a burst of energy, and tonight was no different. "Hey! You'll never believe what's just happened," Clara exclaimed, breathless. She stood with her hands on her hips, a playful grin spreading across her face. "What? Tell me." Lily leaned in, excitement stirring again. "I just got a text from my mom," Clara said, her eyes sparkling. "You know the old barn on Maple Street? The one my grandpa used to own. They're tearing it down next week." Clara paused for effect. "But they found a treasure buried in there. A bunch of old photographs from when the diner first opened." Lily's heart skipped. "Photos? From the diner?" she repeated. She had spent so much time digging through archives, trying to piece together the history of Miller's Diner. "What do they look like?" I don't know, but my mom said they could be worth a lot. She thought they might even show some of the original owners or the first customers." Can you imagine? Clara's eyes shone with the possibilities. What if? Wait. Lily's mind raced. What if we take those photos and use them for the diner's fundraiser? We could create a mini exhibit. We can share the history with everyone and remind them why saving this place is so important. Clara's face brightened. Yes. That could really draw people in. As the two friends hurried back inside, the diner felt different. The energy buzzed with new life, each booth and counter filled with patrons discussing the upcoming events. The idea of saving the diner transformed into a mission shared by all. Lily. Jake called from the far corner. He waved her over, surrounded by a group of friends. We've got some ideas for the talent show that would totally light up the night. Talent show? Clara chimed in, pulling out her phone to take notes. Together, they approached the group, eager to contribute. As they brainstormed, Lily felt a deep sense of connection blossom in her chest. Each person brought their unique spirit to the table, turning what started as a mere idea into a rallying cry for the community. She looked around at everyone, the diner, her friends, the laughter shared over coffee and pie, and realized that this wasn't just a fight for a building. It was a fight for the hearts of the people. All right, everyone. She called, trying to harness the energy swirling around them. Let us get a date set for the show and the exhibit. We need flyers, volunteers, and, most importantly, we need to spread the word. The crowd erupted in cheers, voices overlapping as they began to plan and dream together. But Lily's heart still felt a flutter of apprehension. She glanced toward the door, half expecting more surprises to emerge. Just then, the bell jingled. In walked an older gentleman with a worn, familiar face, Mr. Thompson, the original owner's son. Excuse me, he said, pausing to catch his breath. Lily, I heard you're trying to save this diner. I might have something that can help. Lily's stomach nodded with anticipation. What did he mean? Something I've kept for years, he continued, his eyes glistening. Something that belongs to you. All her heart raced. What could it be? As Mr. Thompson stepped forward, the air thickened with curiosity and hope. A heavy silence fell over the room, leaving everyone wondering what could he possibly reveal that would change everything. Lily held her breath as Mr. Thompson reached into his coat pocket, pulling out a weathered envelope. The diner felt electric, the atmosphere heavy with anticipation. She could see Clara bouncing with excitement beside her, the whole room captured by a collective gaze of curiosity. Thompson unfolded the envelope slowly. These, he said, his voice tinged with nostalgia, are pictures that were taken by my father right after he opened the diner. They were tucked away for decades. He revealed a stack of black and white photographs, each one capturing moments that felt infused with the spirit of the time. As he handed them over, Lily's fingers trembled. The first photo showed the diner bustling with customers, laughter frozen in time. She could almost hear the clinking of glasses and the sizzle of the grill. The next image showcased her own mother as a young waitress, her smile radiant, serving coffee to a child who looked just like Jake at his most mischievous. Your mom worked here? Jake leaned in, amazement lighting up his eyes. This is incredible. Lily could barely respond, overwhelmed by a wave of emotion. She told me stories, she whispered, but I never saw it like this. I didn't think I would ever have something like this. Clara squeezed her hand, mirroring the warmth building in the room. The camaraderie among the patrons gave strength to their vision of saving the diner. This was more than just history, it was a bridge that connected generations. A lot of memories tied to these photos, Mr. Thompson continued, glancing around the diner. And the best part is, I've got boxes of them, a whole collection. We could put together a truly historical exhibit. The crowd erupted once more, the air buzzing with ideas and encouragement. Lily's heart soared at the prospect of showcasing not just photographs, but the spirit of the community that had come together over the years at Miller's Diner. Each face around her radiated hope and unity, a promise that they weren't just fighting for a building but for the essence of who they were as a community. But just as the excitement reached a fever pitch, Mr. Thompson raised a hand. There's just one challenge, his brow creased with concern. These photos aren't the only treasures hidden in that barn. I fear some of the older folks in town might have other valuable pieces of history they might be unwilling to share. You might have to convince them. Lily exchanged glances with Clara and Jake. The whole plan could be at risk. She remembered Mrs. Green, the town's archivist, who had a reputation for being secretive about her collection of historical artifacts. What if I spoke to her? She might come around if she sees how important this is. Mr. Thompson nodded. It'll take a little convincing, but it might be worth it. As the meeting began to wrap, Lily felt a stir of determination. We can do this, she said firmly, her voice filled with purpose. This diner is part of our stories. We'll reach out to everyone. We can remember the past, and actually create something beautiful for the future. With her words hanging in the air, she realized they were standing at a pivotal moment. The challenge of gathering support for the exhibit loomed before them, much like an adventure waiting to unfold. In that moment, united by the past and driven by hope, they felt ready to take a leap together. As the crowd dispersed, Clara leaned over to Lily, her brows raised. Do you think we really can convince everyone? I think we have to try, Lily replied. If they see what this means to us, maybe they'll join in. We could be standing on the edge of something huge. And with that, the weight of responsibility settled onto her shoulders. Would they unite to restore their beloved diner, and would the community rally just as she hoped? With the evening fading away, a new adventure awaited them, filled with challenges and discoveries yet to come. Lily woke the next morning with a sense of purpose. Her mind raced as she thought about the photos, the stories behind them, and the people who held them close. The sunlight streamed through her window, casting warm beams around her room, but the brightness couldn't outshine the nervous flutter in her stomach. Today would be the day she'd talk to Mrs. Green. After breakfast, she grabbed her backpack and headed out, Clara and Jake trailing close behind. Skipping down the street, each step felt heavy with determination. As they approached the small historic building that housed the town archives, Lily's heart beat faster. Would Mrs. Green even listen? Clara nudged her. You ready for this? I have to be, Lily said, swallowing hard. This matters. Inside, the scent of old paper and ink greeted them like an old friend. Rows of shelves stretched into the distance, filled with the weight of the past. But at the back, there sat Mrs. Green, her sharp eyes flicking up over the rim of her reading glasses as they stepped closer. Lily, she said, voice steady. What brings you here? Lily hesitated, the words tangled in her throat. I know you have an amazing collection of artifacts from the diner's past, and I was hoping you'd consider sharing them. Mrs. Green's expression darkened slightly. Sharing? That's not how history works. The past is meant to be preserved. But it needs to be celebrated too. Lily exclaimed, her voice rising just above a whisper. We're putting together an exhibit for the diner, to show everyone how we're connected. This town is more than just buildings, it's our stories. It's family. The room fell into silence. Clara and Jake exchanged nervous glances. If you knew my husband, you'd understand why I protect these artifacts, Mrs. Green said slowly, her gaze shifting. He always believed that history is fragile, best kept safe, rather than exposed to the whims of the present. Lily felt her heart sink. She hadn't expected an easy conversation, but she didn't want to give up. You're right. History is fragile. But by showcasing it, we're keeping it alive. We want our community to remember where they came from, to honor families like yours, who lived and breathed this town. Maybe there's a way to do both. Mrs. Green studied her, the warmth of her expression softening ever so slightly. You're passionate, I'll give you that. But it's not just about you or the diner. It's about a different time. What if we pay tribute to the past? Jake interjected, stepping forward. Your husband's legacy wouldn't fade. It could inspire the next generation. Just like those photos did for us. Lily could see a flicker of hope cross Mrs. Green's face, though she struggled to keep it hidden. Involving the community, perhaps, she mused. Yes. Clara jumped in, enthusiasm spilling over. We could gather stories from everyone, link the past to the present. It would be a celebration. After a moment, Mrs. Green sighed. All right. I'll consider it, but you'll have to work hard to prove me right. Lily felt a rush of relief and excitement combined. Thank you, she said, trying to keep calm. We won't to let you down. As they left the archives, the weight on Lily's shoulders felt lighter. Each step they took out felt filled with newfound hope. Clara grinned. You nailed it. Just one step closer, Lily replied, excitement bubbling within her. But she could feel the pressure of expectations looming on the horizon. What if they couldn't gather enough stories, or if Mrs. Green changed her mind? The evening brought a meeting at the diner, the community gathering once more, filled with chatter over coffee and pie. As everyone shared their ideas, Lily set her sights on an even bigger ambition. She wanted to capture not only the history of the diner but the very spirit of its people. With each joyful discussion, Lily realized how integral their stories were to the diner's legacy. They weren't just relics of the past, they were living, breathing narratives waiting to be told. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows, Lily felt a determination surge within her. They were fighting for more than just a building, they were fighting to keep memories alive, but amidst the laughter and brainstorming, Lily couldn't shake the feeling that some voice was still missing from their journey. Who would it be, and what stories still lay hidden, waiting to be unearthed? Lily sat at the diner table surrounded by her friends and neighbors. The scent of fresh coffee and warm pastries filled the air, mingling with the sound of laughter and clinking silverware. It was cozy, yet her mind buzzed with unfinished thoughts. They needed stories, real, heartfelt accounts that could breathe life into their exhibit. But who could provide those missing pieces? As the conversations flowed, she watched Mrs. Adams, the waitress who'd been serving at the diner for decades. The warmth in her smile lit up the room, and the way she interacted with every customer felt like a dance of genuine affection. Lily's heart raced again as a thought struck her. Mrs. Adams had lived through so much, her memories could be a treasure trove for their project. Hey, everyone! Lily spoke up, lifting her voice above the hum. What if we invite Mrs. Adams to share some stories about her time at the diner? She's practically a part of this place. Good idea, Clara said, her eyes sparkling with excitement. She must have seen so much over the years. Jake nodded. Yeah. Let us get her to open up about what makes the diner special. The thought electrified Lily. If Mrs. Adams could be convinced to share her tales, it might just ignite others to come forward too. She felt like the pieces of a puzzle were finally starting to align. After a few more minutes of brainstorming, Lily approached Mrs. Adams' table. The waitress was pouring coffee into the mugs of the two elderly gentlemen seated there, her laughter ringing out. Excuse me, Mrs. Adams, Lily said, her voice a little shaky with anticipation. Can I talk to you for a moment? Of course, dear. Mrs. Adams set down the coffee pot and smiled. What's on your mind? Lily took a deep breath. We're putting together an exhibit about the diner's history, and we would love to include your stories. You've been here longer than anyone, and your experiences could inspire the whole community. Mrs. Adams' gaze softened. Oh, honey. I don't know. Some stories are best left in the past. Please, Lily pleaded, her heart racing. You shared so much joy with our families over the years. Your words can bring those moments to life for new generations. A flicker of contemplation washed over the waitress. Well, I suppose it wouldn't hurt to share a little, she began, her voice wavering. But there are things that are not easy for me to talk about. Lily felt a surge of empathy. You don't have to share everything. Just what feels right for you. We want to pay tribute to the love and memories here. It's about connecting all of us. Mrs. Adams looked around the diner, her eyes lingering on the smiling faces of loyal customers. Okay, I'll think about it. You're a good girl, Lily. Just then, an unexpected voice cut through the chatter. An elderly man seated in the corner. You know, Mrs. Adams, I'd love to hear your story too." His gravelly tone held a weight of its own, one that demanded attention. Everyone turned, Lily's heart pounded. Here was a stranger, yet somehow, he represented all the voices crying out to be heard. "Yes. Many of us would love to hear. You've touched so many lives." The energy in the room shifted, like waves breaking against a shore. Murmurs of agreement cascaded around the diner. It was as if the community had ignited with the flickering spirit of connection, drawn in by the powerful aura of shared stories. Mrs. Adams hesitated, glancing from Lily to the man, then back at everyone in the diner. There was a glint in her eye now, something reminiscent of courage mixed with vulnerability. "I suppose I have a few tales to tell," she said slowly. Lily's heart soared. But as excitement crackled in the air, another unease quickly settled in Lily's chest. What if Mrs. Adams's stories uncovered something, a truth that shook the very foundations of their beloved diner? As the night wore on, she sensed that there was something more to Mrs. Adams than anyone knew, and she couldn't shake the feeling that uncovering those hidden truths could change everything. What secrets would surface as they began to dig deeper? The following morning felt different. The soft sunlight spilled through the diner's windows, illuminating the day with a warmth that seemed to match the excitement still buzzing in Lily's veins. Armed with her notepad and camera, she hoped to capture the essence of the diner as they prepared for the big unveiling of the exhibit. But more than that, she hungered for Mrs. Adams's stories. As she entered, the diner's regular rhythm greeted her, clattering dishes, the sizzling grill, and the mingling voices of friends and families sharing the morning. But Lily's eyes were drawn to a new energy stirring amongst the patrons. Whispers about Mrs. Adams floated from table to table, igniting curiosity that might just spark the sharing of old secrets. "Morning, Lily," Jake called, his usual grin wide. He flipped the pages of a newspaper, filling her with a sense of purpose. "Can you believe it? Everyone is talking about what Mrs. Adams might share. It's bringing us all together." Lily smiled, but a knot formed in her stomach. She glanced towards the back, where Mrs. Adams was busy serving a customer. The waitress wore her usual smile, but Lily could see the flicker of hesitation in her eyes. What thoughts were running through her mind while she poured coffee? "Let us go talk to her," Clara said as she slid into the booth beside Lily. "I think we should keep the momentum going." Lily nodded, aware that they only had so much time to draw Mrs. Adams out before she could retreat again. They approached her table, where she was refilling a mug for Mr. Jenkins, a familiar face among the regulars. "Mrs. Adams," Lily said gently, trying to keep her tone inviting. "We're all really eager to hear from you. The whole diner is excited about your stories." Mrs. Adams paused, her eyes searching the room as she took a deep breath. "It's easy to get swept up in the excitement, isn't it?" she said, her voice laced with nostalgia. "But some stories carry their weight. Not every memory is light." The weight of her words hung heavy in the air. Lily's heart raced. What had Mrs. Adams experienced? Maybe, Clara suggested hesitantly, you could just start with one. Something joyful. The waitress's fingers trembled slightly as she brushed a stray hair behind her ear. She looked at the faces around her, the smiling patrons who had become her extended family over the years. A soft smile broke through her more serious demeanor. "All right, I can start with a good one," she relented, her eyes brightening. It was during a winter storm decades ago. Customers weren't able to make it in, but those who did created their own kind of magic in the diner. Excitement buzzed through Lily, absorbing every word like a child at story time. Mrs. Adams began recounting tales of laughter, of an impromptu sing-along amidst the storm, tightening the community's bond as they huddled together. Yet, as the warmth filled the cafe, a cloud passed over Mrs. Adams's face. Her gaze turned distant, as if reflecting on something deeper buried beneath her laughter. And just as quickly, she seemed to shake it off. "I have a few more stories," she started again, but her voice wavered. "Please, share," Lily encouraged, her heart clenching with a mixture of hope and apprehension. As Mrs. Adams sought to continue, the bell above the diner door chimed, and a new figure stepped in, tall and familiar, with a glance that caught Mrs. Adams by surprise. "Mom." The voice pierced the air, a blend of uncertainty and urgency. Lily's heart raced as she turned to see a young woman stepping forward, her eyes locked onto Mrs. Adams. The connection between them seemed palpable, heavy with unspoken history. What could this unexpected arrival mean for Mrs. Adams and the stories she was finally ready to share? Would this be a moment of reunion, or would it unravel even deeper secrets that lay untouched in the diner's history? Lily could only wait, breath held, as the diner fell to a hush. What tales lingered in the silence? The young woman stepped closer, her eyes wide, reflecting a mix of hope and trepidation. Mrs. Adams froze, her coffee pot hovering in midair, as the diner's lively chatter receded into an almost eerie silence. The joy that had recently surrounded her began to dissipate, replaced by a palpable tension that twisted in Lily's gut. "Jessica." Mrs. Adams's voice broke, barely a whisper. It was a name that echoed with both love and sorrow. "Mom, it's been too long," Jessica said softly, her voice shaky but strong. The vulnerability in her tone wrapped around the room, holding everyone in rapt attention. I tried to reach you. I just thought you'd want to see me." Lily felt the weight of emotions weaving through the diner. The warmth of Mrs. Adams's earlier stories now seemed like a fragile web about to snap under the pressure of this unexpected reunion. She watched as Mrs. Adams set down the coffee pot, her hands trembling slightly, as if afraid to touch the new reality unfolding. "Why didn't you come back?" Mrs. Adams asked, her tone a mixture of hurt and yearning. The gap of years between them felt like miles. "I thought I know what you thought. But things got complicated. I needed to figure myself out first, Mom." Jessica looked down, brushing a lock of hair behind her ear, a familiar habit she had likely picked up from her mother. "I made mistakes. We both made mistakes." "What kind of mistakes?" Clara mouthed to Lily, her own eyes wide with curiosity. But it was clear as silence enveloped them again that this was not the time for a simple explanation. The air in the diner thickened, a heavy pause lingering before Mrs. Adams found her voice again, trembling but determined. "Thoughts of you kept me going, Jess," she said, her voice wavering with the weight of emotions. "I just wanted to understand why you left. I never wanted you to feel you had to go, I wanted you home." Lily, wrapped up in this intimate exchange, felt as if she were watching her own heart story play out. The longing for connection was universal, a thread weaving through the experiences of those who regretted lost time. Jessica stepped closer. "I'm here now. Isn't that what matters? I missed you." Tears began to brim in Mrs. Adams's eyes. For a moment, everything in the diner felt suspended in that poignant moment. Every person, from the old couple at the corner booth to Jake, who had paused his server duties, felt the gravity of the reunion. But as Mrs. Adams reached out, her trembling hand hesitated, fear creeping in. "You have so many questions about our past, don't you?" she asked, her voice tightening. Questions I wasn't ready to answer. The weight of the unspoken history hung in the air. But what seemed like a moment of healing was tinged with the potential for more pain. Did Jessica really understand where it all began? Did she know the depth of the stories Mrs. Adams had been holding back? "Maybe," Jessica said carefully, gauging her mother's emotions, "you can share those stories with me, Mom. I want to know everything, all of it." Lily watched a battle of fear and hope unfold across Mrs. Adams's face, a struggle to decide whether to embrace the possibility of truth or retreat into the comforting nostalgia of her past. In that moment, every heart in the diner was held captive, waiting, trembling, fearing that this was just the calm before the storm. Would Mrs. Adams open the doors to her past, or would the weight of those stories push them apart once again? The question lingered, unspoken, as the diner's atmosphere shifted from the warmth of tales once shared to the uncertainty of unearthing buried family bonds. With a deep breath, Mrs. Adams finally whispered, "All right, but it won't be easy." The walls of the diner seemed to lean in closer, as if eager to hear the first words of a story that had waited far too long to be told. What truths lay beneath the surface? Lily felt the excitement and tension rise, the next chapter of this reunion waiting to be unveiled. The air crackled with anticipation. What would Mrs. Adams reveal, and how would it change the fabric of their community forever? As Mrs. Adams stood at the heart of Miller's diner, a wave of silence cocooned the bustling place, the air thick with expectation. Each patron, from the regulars sipping coffee to the diners digging into their meals, felt the weight of the moment. It was a pivotal juncture, a chance to weave past and present into something new and meaningful. With a deep breath, Mrs. Adams steadied herself. Years ago, before I became the waitress everyone knows, I lived a very different life, she began. The gentle tremor in her voice was overshadowed by the courage shining in her eyes. I moved here as a young woman, searching for something I couldn't define. I found a job here at the diner, and quickly fell in love with its spirit. Little did I know, the warmth I felt would soon be challenged by life's tempests. She glanced at Jessica, eyes shimmering with unshared memories. You're right, Jess. I never wanted to let you down, but I made choices I thought would protect you. Lily listened intently, her heart racing. She could feel the emotions in the room swell, roaring like a tide coming in. When I had you, Mrs. Adams continued, my whole world shifted. I wanted to be a good mother, but lost in my dreams, I found it hard to balance the weight of reality with the life I envisioned. She paused, her hand clenching nervously around the edge of the counter. The diner became my refuge, she admitted softly. It was here that I learned resilience, where I built community and love. But it was also where I felt the pain of regret each time you walked out of my life. I couldn't let you see me fail. The diner seemed to huddle closer, every face leaning in as if to capture every word she spoke. Clara squeezed Lily's hand, the tremor of their friendship igniting a wave of solidarity. The sharing of a story, however fragile, brought people together in ways they didn't realize were possible. Jessica stepped forward, emotional yet composed. You didn't fail me, Mom, she said, her voice firm but tender. You did your best, and I get that now more than ever. I've been struggling too, trying to figure out who I am. But I want you to know that I'm here. I want to learn from you about the diner, the stories, and everything in between. Mrs. Adams's eyes glistened with gratitude, and a smile broke through the storm of her emotions. I love that, she replied, voice thick with tears. We can be here for each other, just like this diner has always been here for us. The echoes of their reunion resonated deeper than just the words exchanged, they held the remnants of voices past intertwined with hopes for a shared future. Across the diner, patrons chimed in with their own experiences. Mr. Jenkins recalled visiting the diner during his first date with his late wife, the memories flooding back like a sweet melody. Others shared stories of birthday celebrations and warm coffee on snowy mornings, a tapestry of connection unfolding before them. Lily's heart swelled with each tale, a vibrant quilt knit together by shared moments. Let us honor those stories, Lily said, raising her voice, her heart feeling emboldened amidst the swirling emotions. Together, we can make history breathe through our exhibit. We can celebrate not just the moments that make this diner special but the people who walk through its doors every day. Applause erupted, laughter mingling with hushed gratitude. The diner filled with renewed energy, each soul uplifting one another on that fateful night. Mrs. Adams beamed, adorned with the spark of hope rekindled not just for herself but for everybody gathered. Lily realized then how transformative this struggle had become. They weren't just rallying to save a diner, they were building a communal heart, a family of shared stories that could withstand the test of time. Let us gather more stories, together. Each of us has a tie to this place. Let us find those treasures and put together a tribute that binds us, she encouraged. Hours melted away as laughter filled the space once more, ideas sparking like fireworks overhead. People stood to share, to reminisce, to connect over memories long tucked away. As the night deepened, Lily caught the eye of Charlie, who was leaning against the wall with a proud smile. He nodded at her, as if recognizing the remarkable journey she embarked upon. That evening, as the last customers departed and the neon lights flickered to life, a palpable warmth remained. This wasn't just Miller's diner, it was a testament to the strength of relationships, resilience, and community pride. Each person left with a feeling of fullness in their hearts, a new beginning hanging softly in the air. As Lily locked the diner's door behind her, her heart felt light. With each story shared and connection forged, they had turned from mere patrons into a family bound by the threads of love, memories, and hope. Together they stood at the edge of something bright, not just to save a diner but to kindle a legacy that would echo for generations. In closing, Lily looked up at the soft, starlit sky overhead. This was just the beginning, and she couldn't wait to see what adventures lay ahead for them all. And in that moment, she knew together, they could conquer anything. Now that you've experienced this inspiring journey, it's time for you to take action. You need to subscribe now to ensure you don't miss the next exclusive stories that await you. This is the moment to show your support. Please hit that like button now to feed the algorithm and help us spread these incredible tales. Comment your feelings and reactions about the ending. We want to hear from you, and don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Together, let us keep the spirit of these stories alive.